Hey there, everyone. Pete Pardo here from Sea Tranquility. Welcome to another edition of Classic Live Album War. Today we've got Chris Alo in the hot seat again.
Hey, everybody. Thanks, Pete. Thanks as always for having me.
Good to have you back, as always. We've got two kind of Black Sabbath-y things going on today.
Black Sabbath versus Black Sabbath.
You know, I don't normally like on the show to do band versus band, but this actually isn't, right? It's because technically it is, but
we're splitting hairs. Yeah,
we're splitting hairs here. So we got actually Black Sabbath versus Heaven and Hell, okay, which is basically
which the guys themselves, you know. It was Black Sabbath.
It was Black Sabbath. So we're going to get away with that here today. So we're talking about the Reunion album, okay, from 1990. What did we say? 98. This came out.
I think it was October 98. Pete and I were just talking. I remember it coming out in late fall because the Black Sabbath Reunion tour kicked off New Year's Eve 98 and ran through most of 99, and that was the second Reunion tour with Ozzy, but the first full actual tour with Bill Ward.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And on the other end of the ring today, we've got Black Sabbath under a different name, Heaven and Hell, live at Radio City Music Hall. Okay.
Which, that is a terrible cover.
It's awful. I'd rather look at this, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's much better.
And this was released in 2007, so this was the big triumphant return of Ronnie back into the band. So of course, this is Ronnie and Geezer and Tony and Vinny. Okay, so that's basically the Mob Rules era of the band, right? So two really good albums, and we'll start with the early one first. So this is Sabbath, again.
And here's the... Oh, just dropped it. Sorry, Pete.
So we got the Digipack that Chris has. Version. I'll let you show that one, and the Jewel case, basically the same thing. All right. Chris's is probably a little cooler. Yeah, as always, Digipacks are nice.
Yeah.
Great set list, though fairly predictable, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
Most part.
I mean, there's a couple gems on here. I mean, man, Spiral Architect, rarely performed.
Rarely ever played.
Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, if I'm not mistaken.
Never played again.
Never,
right?
I mean,
Other
that
than
was...
riffs,
It had never been played until until the Tony Martin version of the band. And then this was the first time that the Ozzy version of Sabbath ever played it, which is crazy, considering Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath is such an amazing, revered record. That band never did the title track.
That's very strange. Got Into the Void coming in here, right?
Right.
Okay, a song which had not been played in many years.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say Lord of this World is another one.
Yep.
Very rarely played track.
Yep. What else we got here? Behind the Wall of Sleep, Fairies Wear Boots. Okay.
Classic. I mean, there's a lot of classic material.
Yeah, you got Sweet Leaf on here. You got Snowblind.
And then the two bonus studio tracks.
Which I'm not really big on. They're okay.
Yeah, I gotta say, I think they're fairly forgettable.
Yeah, they are. I will tell you, I think anything on the 13 album is better than those two tracks.
100% agreed. Opinion. It's a Psycho Man and Selling My Soul. Particularly Psycho Man, with its catchy, repetitive chorus.
Sounds like Ozzy solo to me.
Pete, I was just gonna say that. It very much reminds me of 90s era Ozzy solo. It just...
Which doesn't do a hell of
other than the riffs, it just doesn't really sound like Black Sabbath to me. And of course, famously, Sabbath employed a drum machine on those tracks, which is so ironic.
Thanks for nothing, Bill, right?
Yeah. So ironic.
Yeah. But this was recorded live December 5th, 97 at the NEC in Birmingham.
Yep.
Okay. I've actually been on numerous occasions thanked for my pronunciation of Birmingham and not Birmingham, which is what most U.S. folks would probably say. We're not from from London area. So
I saw Black Sabbath twice in Birmingham, and they do not like being referred to as Birmingham.
I think I said that once, and I got chastised for it. So from now on, it's always like Birmingham, Birmingham, England. So, but I think it's a pretty potent live album.
Yeah.
And it would I remember I saw them on that tour we both did.
Yep.
And I saw them at the Nassau Coliseum in Long Island, and just so great for me to finally see the classic.
The original lineup. Sabbath, all four guys doing a great set list, a great stage show.
Yep.
They did quite tours with amazing opening bands. I think I saw them 8 times on the Reunion tour. I'm not sure.
Okay.
Including the final final Black Sabbath shows at the NEC in Birmingham in December of 1999.
So they came back again. Okay.
Yes, yeah, they toured for a full year on that record. Of course, they didn't break up for very long. I mean, I love the record. I think it totally holds up. My one criticism when I was listening to it the other day was, to me, just how loud the drums sound. Like, it's almost a bit overpowering. I mean, I love Bill Ward, but, between the, bass, drums, guitar, and vocals, if I'm going to be overpowered by anything, I want it to be the guitar. I want to hear Tony Iommi.
Yeah.
So, I could be wrong, but to my ears, just the drums sounded very loud and a bit overpowering. I just kept hearing a lot of drums and cymbals.
It is kind of a noisy album. I think from when it was first released, I thought so too. What are your opinions on Ozzy's vocals on here?
It's Ozzy. Yeah. It's not amazing, but was ever other than early his days, was he ever amazing? True, it sounds really good.
Yeah. What I always liked is cool hearing him sing some of these songs because in more recent years, I mean, a good portion of this he would not even think twice about it.
Bloody Sabbath, never, like you said, other than the riff. Yeah. And I know I have, being a big Sabbath fan and collector, I know I have a bootleg version of the original tapes from the NEC from 1997, and they definitely cleaned up some of the vocals somewhat, but no different than any other Ozzy record, live record, or any other band that puts out a live record. True. They're gonna tweak it. I think overall, it still really holds up.
Yeah, I agree. I like it.
The DVD is another story because I hate the fact that they filmed this particular show and didn't release it. The show that they did release is awful.
Yeah.
Because they cut into every song with interview segments.
Yeah, it's just
I don't understand.
It's unwatchable.
It's unwatchable. Yeah. Unwatchable. That's another story.
Yeah. So, but good stuff, I think. So we go fast forward to 2007. So, they released the Dio box.
Yeah,
right?
It was the Dio Years box set.
Dio Years box, and record a couple of new tracks. And before you know it, they're back mended on the road. Fences. They're back on the road together. Not under the name Black Sabbath, though. They decided to go with Heaven and Hell. All sorts of kind of legal things going on behind the scenes. I'm sure Sharon had something to do with this, but the band was like, you know what, we don't even want to go there.
And they wanted to stand on their own.
Yep.
They refused to perform any of the Ozzy material live, which was awesome because they just dug deep.
Yep.
And for me, as a massive, massive Sabbath fan, this tour was so much more satisfying than the 1992 Dehumanizer tour. I mean, I literally, when I saw Radio City was the third show that I saw on this tour. I saw them. I flew to Canada to see them, and I literally in Canada I welled up with tears in my eyes. It was
I cried at Radio City.
It was so amazing.
We were both on hand at this show.
So
both the video and the audio, Chris and I, he was somewhere else in there, but we were both there. I cried during the show.
It's amazing.
It was probably the first time that I've seen a live show where the band seemed so happy to be
into
there.
it. And that's a great point. In interviewing these guys, I have brought that up previously. To see Tony Iommi and Geezer Butler beaming and smiling on stage.
To be playing this material with these guys again was, I think, for them really refreshing. And I think the biggest thing that moved me the entire night was the love from the crowd for Ronnie.
Absolutely.
He was
unbelievable.
Remember, everybody started chanting Ronnie, or was it D? Ronnie or Dio? I don't remember.
It might have been Dio.
Yeah, and he just sat there and
just took it all in.
With like 8,000 people there, or more. I haven't.
Right.
Yeah,
well, and it sold out. That show sold out so fast.
Yeah. In fact, all of my buddies, my brother and a couple buddies of mine, we all bought tickets, but because it was selling so fast, we couldn't get tickets together. So we were all sitting.
We did the same.
Right?
We were all in different spots.
That's too funny. So we were all and we were just texting each other all night, like, "This is fucking great. This is, it was amazing."
And I wound up with 2 sets because then I had to have as close as possible, so I wound up like second row center. So I wound up selling my other set, but at the time it was such a hot ticket, it was no problem because everybody wanted to go to the show. Yeah. I mean, I think they could have sold out Madison Square Garden at that time.
Yeah, I thought they cut them. I mean, I get why they wanted to do it here, easier to film,
right,
a little more intimate, but I agree they could have sold out the Garden.
Yeah, absolutely.
Easily. And then they came back again.
Oh, they came back multiple times.
And played the theater at the Garden, which I didn't understand.
Well, that was a couple years later. That was for the record.
That was.
But they did multiple tours. They toured with Megadeth and Machine Head. They did a Shed tour on this tour, and then they did a third leg where it was Heaven and Hell, Alice Cooper, and Queensryche.
Yeah.
So they did a lot of heavy touring and did really, really well with this. This is the super deluxe version, which I was showing Pete, of course. Mine is still sealed and shrink wrapped. Part of me wants to open it because it's really heavy. I don't even remember what's in it, and part of me, as a collector,
it is heavy.
No, let me just leave it sealed. So I don't know, but
could have a dead body in there, so you wouldn't know. Right?
Who knows?
A book, a DVD. We have no idea. I'm sure we can
look
look
Iommi's long lost fingertips. who knows?
But a great track list on here. So again, it's two guys who were there that night. Pretty magical. So After All the Dead, opening with the E5150, Mob Rules, Children of
Which
the
I
Sea.
still think, Pete, After All, I love that song.
Not a good opening.
Why are they opening with that?
Yeah, no, I agree with you on there. Yeah.
They opened so many times with Mob Rules, and Dehumanizer.
Yeah, that didn't make any sense.
Yeah,
but you know what? I forgive.
But yeah, we gotta let it go
because the rest of it was great. Lady Evil, I was killer. Right?
Yeah.
Sign of the Southern Cross,
Which is my all-time favorite song ever. And crushing version. And to me, here's the perfect example of a band improvising and extending the song, because on the record it's like 7 minutes. Here's like 9+ minutes.
Yeah.
But it's just enough.
Yeah.
It's just enough.
A lot of atmosphere they played on
Absolutely.
that night. It's just really, really good. Voodoo.
Falling Off the Edge of the World was very, very rarely played by Sabbath on the Mob Rules tour.
It's on here.
And another thing to note, being a Sabbath fan, Sign of the Southern Cross was never played, as far as I know, never played in its entirety on the Mob Rules tour.
And I saw that tour, and I don't...
They did it, just like on Live Evil, there's an abbreviated version.
Yeah.
So I was amazed that not only did they play the whole thing live, but they actually added to it.
Yeah, which is kind of neat. What else? The Devil Cried, which is one of the newer tunes.
Yeah,
okay.
They
went over good live.
Yeah, 2 of the 3 new ones. They didn't do Ear in the Wall that night, which was my favorite of the 3.
Yeah.
Apparently, they were supposed to. But the problem with Radio City Music Hall, with it being in New York City, there's all sorts of union issues.
There's a curfew. Yeah.
There was no opening bands for this particular show. It was just an evening with Heaven and Hell, and they were supposed to do Ear in the Wall, and they had to cut it.
Yeah, they had to cut
it. From the second
Got to be
night.
done before 11 o'clock. Yep. Got to do it.
Absolutely.
Computer Gods on here. I would have picked something else, but that's not one. I like it.
I like Computer God.
Yeah, but it was played well.
Right.
Shadow of the Wind is the other newer track.
The other new track from the Dio Years CD.
Die Young.
Classic.
Yeah, love Die Young.
Which, of course, is not on Live Evil. They didn't do it on that tour.
Exactly.
Lonely in the World is the World. Great track.
Yeah.
Very underrated. And again, I thought it was great how they had another semi-obscure one as an encore, which was only done at some shows on the Heaven and Hell tour in 1980 and 81. So it was great that they really dug deep.
They did, and a great vehicle for some cool Tony Iommi bluesy guitar solos. Of course, you got the massive Heaven and Hell on here, which was awesome. That for all of us was like the one of the many magical moments here. And then how about finishing it all off with Neon Nights?
Perfect.
Which normally would be at the beginning of the set, right?
Well, very times often, yeah.
So but I overall a great performance. I think we would have liked it to have been longer. Right?
Sure.
It was one of those nights where you just
didn't want it to end.
Yeah.
Like I said, I know Ear in the Wall was the only track for sure that they were supposed to do, because I had seen this show twice up in Canada, and they did this set plus Ear in the Wall. It was over 2 hours, so it's a little less than that on the record. I think the record still holds up. It sounds amazing.
It does, yeah.
I guess my only criticism of, and it's not a criticism per se, but, comparing Ronnie versus Ronnie, he does not, there's a couple times where vocally he sounds a little croaky, but listen, comparing Ronnie James Dio of 2005 or 6 to Ronnie James Dio of 1982, it's impossible.
Still sounded great, though.
But still sounds amazing.
He was, in his late 60s at the time, right?
So I mean, again, that's my all-time favorite.
I will tell you, I'll take Dio at this show
absolutely.
over Ozzy at this
absolutely,
one.
But I don't want to, no record is perfect.
No.
I was looking for the flaws, and that was the slightest.
Yeah, and I would think, like we talked about, After All the Dead is an opener.
Right. Well, and then after this they did move it to the set. It's just not a good opener. Yeah. Great tune, but not a good one to open with.
No, but otherwise a great show. And like I said, I think for me it holds extra special significance because I was there.
Absolutely.
And so when we come down to it, so again, because we're at that point in the
Sabbath
video,
versus Sabbath,
Sabbath versus Sabbath, or all right, technically Heaven and Hell versus Sabbath. I'll let my guest here pick his favorite of the two.
It's a tough one, but I'm definitely going with Heaven and Hell live at Radio City. I prefer the sound quality, and it's just it's my favorite version of Sabbath is the Dio version, but by just a hair over the Ozzy version. Nothing wrong with it, but I'm going to Heaven and Hell. It holds up a little bit better. I think.
And I'm going to agree with you here. I dig this a lot, and I think it's a great set list and some cool surprises in there. But
and the 2 studio tracks
don't really do a lot for me. Yeah. Whereas this, again, maybe if I wasn't there that night, I wouldn't look at it as fondly as I do. But I still think it's great, regardless whether I was there or not. But this is pretty damn special.
Yeah.
It means a lot to me, and the performance is a great set list. So we're probably talking, pretty close here.
Yeah,
but I'm going to give it to Heaven and Hell live at Radio City. But your opinion may differ, and that's totally cool.
Absolutely.
So you can go down below in the comments and tell us which one you prefer. Also, make sure you vote up in the upper right-hand corner. You're going to see a little white circle with a letter I in it. That's where you click on that. You can vote for Heaven and Hell or Black Sabbath here. No right or wrong answer. It's all what we prefer. We'll see which one wins. We'll be on the Facebook page as well with the poll. Whichever one wins after 6 days, it's going to go on to round 2 to face whoever.
Right.
Round 2 begins in a couple weeks. So Chris Alo is coming right back. He's not going anywhere. Thank you, my friend, for joining.
Thanks for having me.
We'll see you in a couple minutes, guys, and throughout this rest of this weekend with more classic live album more as we finish up round 1. So stay tuned. Visit us on the web at www.seaoftranquility.org. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. Of course, we're here on YouTube every day. Chris, where can they find you as well?
I write the monthly heavy metal column, More Metal, for the magazine More Sugar Magazine, which is a free newspaper that's on the newsstands and at restaurants and bars in the Hudson Valley, New York area. If you're not in the Hudson Valley area, you can read the entire contents at www.moresugar.com. I take concert pictures, interview metal bands, and talk all things metal.
That's right. Good stuff. Check it out, and we'll see you guys real soon with more live. Yeah, I'm not going to spoil it. We'll see you then. Bye.